Hello, everybody. I am Tommy Luganbill here at Hangar AA at the St. Mary's County Airport, and today we are presenting 700-mile-an-hour bourbon. Whoop, whoop. I'm joined by my co-host, Dominic Fragman.
How's it going? Good to be here.
And the most special guest of the day, Mr. Art Null.
Yeah.
Hey. And he is the pilot today for the Harrier jet.
What? I thought I was going to just be riding. I'm the pilot.
It's not autopilot, right?
No. This is a manual transmission. This is an older 1979 model. Basically, the ones the Marines are still flying, that's like automatic transmission. This is like manual transmission.
Oh, wow.
So for those of you who don't know what we're doing here today, let me get started by saying we did go early because, as I was told in aviation, timetables oftentimes have to change. Weather is a concern today.
Afternoon, evening thunder showers.
Afternoon, evening thunder showers. But here's what we're doing. We have a Harrier jet. I believe there's only 2 Harrier jets owned by a civilian in the entire world. Is that correct?
Well, I own 2. We own 2.
You own 2?
Yeah. So there's another one in Australia, a 2-seater that is way away from flying. There's one in Wales in the UK, someplace down around there, that is they're going to have some legal issues in the England flying. This is the only one flying right here, and we've got another 2-seater in a hangar just up here.
The same.
Couple hundred yards.
Is that the black one?
Yeah, the black one. Yeah,
oh wow.
That's that. They only built 46 of those airplanes, so it's a very rare airplane, and we are very, very, very close to flying. We've got a couple pieces of paperwork we have to get from the FAA. We've run the engine, we've got the ejection seats. We're not very far away from flying that airplane at all.
Awesome.
So here's what we're doing. So you've got the only flying private Harrier jet sitting about, 30 to 40 yards away from us. You have the pilot sitting next to me and Dominic. We are attaching Maryland bourbon to the bottom of the wing of the jet. Now, is that usually where the missiles would go?
The airplane has 5 what we call hard points. You could put either fuel or bombs or missists or multiple things. That they all have the same 14-inch lugs. That's NATO standard. So tanks fit up there. These were originally designed to hold fuel, 190 gallons of fuel. But we stripped all that safety equipment out of it inside. We took all that stuff out, kept the structure, and we modified it to carry 2 30. Each tank carries 2 30-gallon white oak barrels full of bourbon.
Okay, so other than the fact that we just wanted to do this, we are also raising money for charity.
That's the whole point.
The whole point is for charity. Okay, and the Semper Fi Fund is who we're raising the money for.
Everybody here has donated their time. Some people have donated equipment. Some people have donated the hangar. It's all been a volunteer effort. We're using our superpowers for good rather than evil is what we're doing. And it's all for charity, for the Semper Fi Fund. That bourbon, to be legal bourbon, it's got to stay in there for 2 years. The 2 years is up here, coming up in just about the time of the Marine Corps birthday, November 10th, here, where it'll be taken out and bottled. And those bottles are available online to buy. And as I say, all the money goes to charity.
So I know Dominic has been studying you a little bit.
What?
Yeah, he's been reading up on you.
So this is going to be a world record, right? World's
well,
fastest
that's what
bourbon?
he's advertised. That's what Scott's advertising it at. And
but wait,
but nobody.
You have a world record.
Yes,
too.
I did. I've had a couple.
Yeah.
The one was the world's smallest rideable bicycle.
Yeah,
back
5
in
inches.
1974, 72, something like that. It's under 5 inches tall.
You can ride it.
Oh yeah. And I was on several TV shows. David Frost Guinness Book of World Records special. I've got a secret that to tell the truth. There's these old black and white TV shows. One of them that you had 3 people that said, "I'm Art Knowles, I'm Art Knowles, I'm Art Knowles," and the panelists would try to guess who the real person was.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, so I was on several of those and some news things, and that was a bit fun. But you also see a small microjet over there too.
Yeah, right.
The one we have in the other hangar, we have 6 of those. Work for the U.S. government.
Right.
Those we simulate cruise missiles. Mm-hmm. We attack Washington D.C. We just did some stuff for Washington. For the Air Force.
Simulated.
Yeah.
Well,
it's almost invisible to radar.
Right.
The radar cross section of that, depending on the frequency, is about this big, and it's tough to see that at 20 miles coming at you 300 miles an hour. But we have the one in the other hangar painted red, white, and blue that actually holds the world's record as the world's smallest jet.
Wow.
Wow.
I
So
saw that when I was over there when you guys were having your talk.
Yeah, it was
And-
in the other hangar there next to you.
Yeah, when I saw the
You
black
came
jet.
up- right,
The Jenna Dolan jet. And then you have the little tiny one. Yeah,
right.
it's really
That
cool.
one's actually, if you put them side by side, that one's bigger. It's like 17 inches longer.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So for those of you watching online, what you can't see, and we will eventually turn the camera around, but you've got one pretty large jet, which would be a Harrier jet,
Yeah.
which he's going to be flying shortly, and then you've got is that a BD5?
It's a BD5J.
BD5J.
J for jet.
I don't know, what is that? 10 yards
My-
across?
No, 17 feet.
17 feet?
Wingspan 17 feet. When you're sitting in there, you're actually lower to the ground than what you are in this chair right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like flying a go-kart 300 miles an hour. And the landing,
Okay.
the landing, you've got to bring it right down to about this height to land it.
And you have particularly an honor for landing a Harrier jet, right?
I got a piece of
with
ribbon
engine
for that.
failure.
Yeah, I was flying an 88A, which is one we bought from the Brits in the 70s, and the engine quit. And I was over top of Richmond, and it seemed like the natural thing to do is just land at Richmond, but I did it without the engine.
Yeah, right.
and saved the jet.
Wow.
The normal procedures say engine failure, eject. But I got a runway right there, so why don't I just land
Wait,
right
did you
there?
say the null procedures?
Is
Is that named after you?
They actually considered court-martialing me.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yes, they
For
did.
doing that? For landing?
Yes. They said
Wow.
it was the decision whether we're going to court-martial or give you a medal. They decided it would be better for everybody to give me a medal. But then they thought, well, there might be other people trying it, or something like that, because the procedures did say eject. But it was right over top of Richmond, and the thought that went to my mind at the time, it all happened in about a minute and a half.
Right.
The thought that if I eject, that jet's going to land in some schoolyard and hurt somebody or something, and I'll have to go through that. But the runway's right there, and I said, the last thing I need is more airspeed, so I really don't need the engine.
Right.
I mean, I was going really fast. I had big tanks on too. Was way over the max landing weight, but I got it on the deck and got it stopped. And,
50 feet of the end.
What?
50 feet of the end of the runway.
Yeah,
they said.
yes. Yeah.
So
where'd you find that information at?
I just was
you got
reading it
sources?
down.
anyway,
You don't want to know.
he's been reading a lot
Everything's
about
on
you.
the damn internet. Oh,
I
sorry.
mean, you're pretty.
It's okay.
You're pretty cool. So it was like, and a lot of people also think you're pretty cool. So it was easy to find stuff about
Tell
you.
that to my wife.
All right,
Bring her
so
over.
so one more question, because you have to actually get started here, apparently. I need to know, was it you or Scott Sanders that thought of this idea?
I think it was a combination of the thing. He was selling some bourbon at the terminal. They had a local farmers market, and he was telling me that they had taken some aboard the USS Constellation.
Right, this is
They made some rum to do
Tobacco
that.
Barn Distillery.
And I said, you know what? Why don't I got some drop tanks. Why don't we fill them up with bourbon and do it? And they kind of evolved over a while. You might, as one might imagine, there were a lot of agencies involved. Alcohol, tobacco, Maryland Comptroller. We have to take off and land in Maryland. We can't go into Virginia. It all has to be loaded only at the DSP distillation something point. FAA's got involved. We're close to Washington, D.C., so I had to make 3 phone calls today. So D.C. knows I'm flying.
Yeah, right.
They told the F-16 stand down.
Okay.
That
That could get interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
well, I've had a speeding ticket here before.
in the air.
Yeah, there's actually a speed limit around 220 indicated. And I was coming back from a charity thing in the L-39, and I was at 14,000 feet, pulled the power back, and I'm looking at 220. Got back, I had to make a phone call. So we clocked you at 350. And I said, doing 350 in a 220 zone? And we had lawyers like,
wow.
see, they're with the radar sees ground speed. They see me going across the ground, right?
Right. So it's
The NOTAM says airspeed, what I'm seeing inside that gauge in the cockpit. And I was attempting to do the right thing, thought I was doing the right thing. And eventually we agreed that let's not do it again.
So is it like driving? So I have a few points on my license from speeding in a car.
Yeah.
Do you get points on your aviation license?
Kinda.
Okay. But you somehow seem to get out of all of them. So
Well, what we agreed was, and I had a lawyer, and there were 3 or 4 lawyers on the other side for the FAA, and we agreed that why don't you just not fly for the next couple of weeks? And I said, it's a winter, that's okay. And the lawyer said, you're not a commercial airline pilot, so you don't have to report this to your boss.
Right.
You don't have to say, hey, I got to go stand in the corner with a funny hat on. I don't have to do any of that. She said, this is not a bad deal.
Right
so,
on.
It's good.
Well, one more question.
Yes.
Then you got to roll. Are you going to do a vertical or short
Oh,
takeoff?
no. I'm going to do what's called a short takeoff. With this weight, we've got the same gross weight as if I just did not have the tanks but had full internal fuel. We've flown out of this airfield many times like that, going to an air show, take off a full ticket gas. So we're not doing anything heavier than what we normally do. And I'll roll ahead to, I'm not even using full power either. I've got a throttle stop. I'll use 96% RPM. I'm going to roll ahead to about 100 knots. It's about 120 miles an hour. And then I'll rotate the nozzles down until the airplane gets airborne. I'm going to be nice and gentle with it. And then rotate those nozzles back and continue to accelerate and raise the gear. And the other airplane should be coming aboard in formation to check me out just as soon as I get there. If we do it right, as soon as I lift off, he'll be right there in formation. Big word if.
Yeah, right.
But we've done this. We've done it bunches of times, and he doesn't have to be right there. He has to be where he can see me.
Cool.
Yeah. So a short takeoff, but we can't do a vertical landing today because those tanks with the whiskey in them weigh 1,600 pounds.
Wow.
What's that? 8 tons? No, not almost a ton. Based on the outside air temperature, I have a vertical landing weight. I calculate in the computer based on the outside air temperature, and that tells me how much fuel I can have. I can't hover today without the water injection. So you're seeing right over there, putting 50 gallons of distilled water into the airplane. So we're going to put that right now.
There are actual gallons of water.
Yeah, we bought them at Rice grocery store.
It's not Deer
From the
Park, but
grocery
it's
store.
something.
Yeah,
There are some gallons of water from the grocery store, and you're going to put those into the jet.
Yeah, what it does is it throws that into the back end of the engine, the turbine section.
Right.
And it cools it down a little bit, so it allows you to put more gas in there. The temperature limits actually go up, but thrust is mass flow times velocity, right? You want to get as much mass flow through there, and so we're going to burn that 50 gallons of water in 90 seconds. Additional fuel. So that's an extra 1,000 pounds of thrust. So if I had to, I could turn the water injection on in an emergency, and I could do a vertical landing, or very, 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 very slow landing, maybe 5-10 miles an hour here or something, and land here, which is a very safe landing. But if I don't have to use it, when I come back, you'll see water leaking out of the back of that because I'm going to dump it.
Interesting. All right, you have to get this thing out there.
All
So
right,
thank you very much. Yes.
Dominic, nice talking to you.
It's a pleasure.
You guys have fun.
See you on the way back.
All right.
All right. So we just heard from the pilot. As a reminder, this is 700 mile an hour bourbon. I am Tommy Luganville, joined by Dominic Fragman of Sonic Spirits. We've done a lot of crazy things together over the years. I guess 2 years now.
Man, it hasn't been that long, but it's been a fair amount of crazy.
This one might take the cake as the craziest. We got to ride the coattails of the last gentleman and Tobacco Barn Distillery. This is going to be kind of a free-flowing interview process. As you guys can see, people are coming and going. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask someone who's behind the scenes helping us to actually turn the camera and show everybody the jet that's going to be taking off. And if she could also show everybody the mini jet that Mr. Knoll was talking about, that'd be great. And then we'll turn the camera back around, and we're actually going to interview the gentleman from Ireland, from the Irish Whiskey Review. So they are actually backstage right now, and I'm going to ask them to come in after we show everybody these jets. So Alex, so Scott Sanders of Tobacco Barn Distillery is breaking the fourth wall. He says hello from behind the camera.
The voice from beyond.
The voice from beyond. And the voice from beyond, North America's greatest hand model, Alex. Could
Walker.
You go ahead and show everybody the Harrier and the BD5? And so if we haven't already said this, we are in the AirTech hangar. I'm going to keep talking when the camera moves. This is the AirTech camera. Keep going, Alex. There you go. All right, so there's the Harrier jet. Alex, good shot right there. There are people here live who bought tickets, which the money will be donated to the Semper Fi Fund. That is the jet that Mr. Null was talking about. Could you do us a favor, Alex, and show everybody the BD5 and that little thing to the right? So, Alex, you're actually looking at
These people can stand in front of
So
me.
it's so small that you can barely even tell that that's a jet. You got a guy in a blue shirt. That's Ken Reed, South Hunt Aero, and he's talking to Chris Castellimas of St. Mary's County Economic Development. And
everybody.
There's Scott Sanders. And we're going to take a break from talking and let Scott do his announcement. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to let the Irish Whiskey Review come in.
Again, we'll be towing the jets out in about 30 minutes. It's noon right now. We have got some more guests come.
Hang on.
One, Tom Jarbo is here with AirTech. He's the president.
So once again, this is Scott Sanders from Tobacco Barn Distillery, sponsor of the event, speaking to everybody. We will bring in the Irish Whiskey Review as soon as Mr. Sanders, Admiral Sanders, is done making his announcements.
Thank AirTech so very much for letting us use this state-of-the-art hangar, and thanks to Ken Reed for building this state-of-the-art hangar right here in our airport innovation district here at St. Mary's County Airport.
Actually,
Chris Castellimas is here from County Economic Development, and we have Marino Frey. Where's Maureen? He's here from the comptroller's office. And if you don't know, the comptroller has a little bit to do with alcohol in the state of Maryland, and they have been so very helpful to making this happen. The comptroller office, innovation and creativity in Maryland. We had rum in barrels on the USS Constellation in Baltimore Harbor. And then today, we're going to be setting 3 Bourbon-Aviation world records by putting bourbon on a Harrier jet. So, Maureen, thank you so much, and Comptroller Francho for making this happen. Appreciate it very much.
Once again, we will come back as soon as announcements are over.
Straight from the set of Duck Dynasty is Sean Coogan Jr. He's over there. So if you don't know, Sean owns Social in Leonardtown. It's a great coffee house, bar, restaurant you can go to there. But the main thing Sean does is he helps us put bourbon into fuel tanks for Harrier jets. So he also owns Patuxent Millwork. He was integral into making this happen. And when they come back in, Sean is going to be getting in the L-39 to go back up again. So good luck. That ought to be fun for you, Sean. So you have a good time up there flying here today. And did I miss anybody? B-12, raise your hand. So B-12, he's our L-39 pilot. You'll be going up twice today. It's great to have you here, sir. Thank you so much again for coming. Please keep Art safe up there. It ought to be, get some cool pictures while you're airborne up there. I'm looking around to see if I missed anybody else. If I did, we'll catch you up later on that. Okay, just letting you know, in about 30 minutes, Art's going to be towing the aircraft out.
All right, that was Admiral Scott Sanders from Tobacco Barn Distillery, and he was making announcements for everybody that's here live. And for those of you watching online, we are going to be bringing in the Irish Whiskey Review now, and they are sitting in Ireland, so I think it's about 7 at night. Maybe I'm off on that number. But I'm going to go ahead and add in 4. All right, I'm going to add in Marty, and I'm going to add in Justin. Gentlemen, are you there?
We are. We are indeed.
It's great to see you again.
hey,
Good to be back. Good to be back.
So what brings you back? Did you guys not? You had fun last time, I presume, on the St. Patrick's Day event.
We did. We since we've heard about all of this, we got in touch with Scott just to find out what the what's going on over there, and it's about the most American thing humanly possible. Okay?
Yeah,
Irish
right.
people don't get to do this kind of stuff. You know, we don't get. I tried to explain to the Admiral, we could get 3 months jail for having a little penknife. That's how it works over here. Meanwhile, Art has private jets, fighter jets that he can fly close to the capital of America. We don't get to do this kind of stuff.
Well, we've had many generations of being degenerates to get us to this point. So your family stayed over there. Ours, well, Ireland, or I'm Ireland. You're Italy. They came here, and now we sit in this hangar. So Justin, we lost you for a second. It looks like you're back. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. I mean, my interest in this comes from the fact that the flying bedstead, the forerunner of the Harrier jump jet, was pioneered just 10 miles up the road from me at
Nice.
Wow.
Shorts. Yeah. So it's pretty good stuff.
So what have you guys been up to since St. Patrick's Day? I've seen a lot of the stuff you put online. How's their whiskey review going? Any updates or upcoming events that you guys want to share?
But like this, there's always stuff happening. We're always doing something. We've got a great interview tonight with a real character. He's a bit of a legend now. It's a very strange thing. He's now the head distiller of a massive distillery. I mean, it was a big concern, and he never distilled anything in his life before. He was just made head distiller, just sent away on a crash course for a few weeks, and lo and behold, he's the head distiller of the Waterford Distillery. So he's on tonight, Ned Gahan.
So what time do you guys go on over there? Your time and our time.
10 p.m. British summertime on YouTube and Facebook. And I think you're at least 5 hours behind us, sort of thing.
It's noon. It's noon with you, isn't it?
So right now it's 12 o'clock here in Maryland.
So it's 5 p.m. So it'll be 5 p.m. It's 5 p.m. here, so it'll be 5 p.m. We go live tonight.
Like last time. You guys went out on St. Patty's Day after you did a stream with us. It was time to go hit the town.
Yeah,
it's a bit early for me. Justin's probably on the drink.
I'm a little disappointed. I was expecting another tutorial video on St. Patrick. You know, the dancing leprechaun on the side of the mountain was really a nice touch. Where's our next video? I mean, we have to do another crazy event like this.
Well, I would love to dress up as a gremlin and climb on and hold on to the Harrier jump jet, just like in True Lies. You know, I'd be holding on, and Marty can pretend to be Jamie Lee Curtis.
So Harrier was True Lies. It was a Harrier jet, right?
It was, yeah, it was.
Yeah, you remember that movie True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis?
I was going to say Tommy Lee. No.
Tommy Lee, the drummer?
No, the guy that always plays the badass.
Tommy Lee Jones. He plays a good guy.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones. Marshals.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. Well, all right, guys. So we got a lot of guests today. I have actually tuned in and watched some of the stuff you guys do. Irish whiskey review. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram,
and LinkedIn.
Yeah. And
LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn. We also restream in LinkedIn. And, you can actually ask your smart speaker to play Irish Whiskey Review podcast, and we'll pop up wherever you get your podcast from.
Wow.
You
guys are way more fancy than you give us credit for. I think Scott wants to join. He's going to pipe in while you guys are still here.
Uh-oh.
Hold on 1 second.
Here he comes.
Yeah. Man of the hour.
How y'all doing?
We're doing good.
So for those who don't know, who are watching, this is Scott Sanders, Admiral Scott Sanders, and he is one of the partners of Tobacco Bar and Distillery, one of the key people to put this event together. And I guess my question for Scott, why did you do this?
Well, we're doing it for charity. It's Simplifying America's Fun. It's a great veterans charity. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of great work with our nation's combat wounded, not only the veterans, but their families and family support. And plus, as you know, because we've done a lot of things at the distillery, we're just a little off center. And we like doing fun things with bourbon. And this is a fun thing with bourbon.
So that's why the guys from Ireland are here and Dominic and I are here, because we're off center. Does that sound about right? Yeah. All right. So I was talking to these guys. They're going on the air tonight. What's next? Do we got any other crazy things that we're going to invite them back for?
Oh, we'll invite them back for some. I doubt if we can top this. This is the culmination of being delayed twice by COVID.
Yep.
The 3 bureaucracies, the Federal Aviation Administration, what's called TTB. Some people think that's ATF, the Alcohol Bureau federally, and then the State of Maryland Comptroller, which covers all liquor. So, by the way, Justin, he'll find this funny, is that the Harrier jet
is part of my bonded warehouse for my distillery today. I have a 1-day license to make a Sea Harrier my bonded warehouse.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Okay. Right.
So is that an insurance policy?
No, it's so I don't get thrown in jail policy.
All right. Now, are we liable?
Yeah, right.
Virtually.
No,
know
you're
about
not
any
liable.
of this stuff.
Okay. All right. We didn't take out any insurance
Yeah.
for this.
No.
What
So
you
when
actually need
she
to do-
pans around and she shows the Sea Harrier, that is our legally by the United States of America in the state of Maryland, our bonded storage warehouse today, or one of them.
For the day.
I'm
For the-
learning a lot today.
It's a 1-day
Yeah.
permit.
Art gave us some interesting intel, and now this is an interesting.
Well,
one as
and the requirements are we have to take off and land at the same airport, and we can't go outside of Maryland airspace.
Yeah.
And
But-
that makes it legal.
But we can fly across the Chesapeake Bay, correct?
Yes. But we're not going to.
How far is he going to fly?
Not very far.
Yeah.
See those?
So we're looking.
As I tell people, the Sea Harrier takes off with a low fuel warning light on. That thing is, they just don't.
well, they burn fuel,
They
right?
burn fuel like you can't believe.
Like every second,
He
it's
said
some.
he burns most of that fuel in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and he does it now. He's not going to be taking off vertical. He'll be taking
Right.
off horizontal to save gas. And it's hot
Marty-
today, so it's going to be close to 90. So I don't know. You guys calculate that in Celsius. What was that? 28, 29? I don't know. Something like that. So
90.
anyways, it's hot.
We would
So
volunteer
we're,
to take it into space for you. If you want to send these two Muppets into space, we would go into
Yeah.
space with the whiskey.
See, that's why I put David Bowie on, because if you need bourbon in space, that's where we need to go.
So it's a little hard to hear because we're in this hangar, but basically Justin and Marty just suggested the next thing that we do is go into space. and space tells me he's already thought about that.
And guess what?
So
Yes, it does.
he's thinking
It
about
does.
it, guys.
We're in the right position.
We're in a-
Every single
By the way,
astronaut
we're
that's
not
ever
allowed to say
astronauted.
it, and he's out of earshot range. We have an astronaut here today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Pierre Thuet. He's not around here, so I'll mention his name. But he had the world record for, I think, spacewalks up until he was surpassed a few years ago. So he's been
Wow.
up in space 3 times.
But Dominic, you were just gonna say what I find to be an interesting fact about astronauts.
Yeah, you told me that. So you go.
Well, Scott told me, so we're pointing the fingers around in a
Okay.
circle here. But apparently, every astronaut who's ever gone into space has had to go through Pax River.
Not all of, most of them have been here. So John Glenn, Neil Armstrong, they've all gone. They start off at Navy Test Pilot School.
Okay.
That's where now today it's not so much, but still a lot of them are.
So-
Most of the astronauts, everybody knows, went through test pilot school here at NAS Pax River, Maryland.
It's like 5 miles away, about
Yeah.
maybe a little more. All right, so there's got to be an astronaut floating around that'll help us get this into space. It's basically what I'm hearing.
Well, not only that, but we got a lot of we can attract some of those billionaires that are going up there, get them to do an operation here with some tobacco barn distillery.
Does Ireland have a space program?
We have a very rudimentary one.
Okay. But this seems like something they could get behind, so maybe we can work with them.
Well, put it like this. All I'm saying
Forming
is,
international partnerships, tobacco barn distillery.
you can buy space travel now off Amazon. I'm led to believe. You know, you can just get space travel delivered by Jeff Bezos, and he goes up in his rather large phallic shaped spacecraft.
This is a PG show. Marty, thank you.
They'll be
Hey,
cut
Marty
off.
and Justin, I'll try to see you tonight, but I can tell you this. Once this airplane lands, and I know the barrels didn't break, I might have had a wee little dram before your show tonight. So thank you very much. I got to run back off.
All right, thank
Good
you,
to
Scott.
see you, buddy. Good to see you.
All right, Justin, Marty, you've been hanging in there. We've got another guest here that's live. For those of you who just tuned in, the Irish Whiskey Review, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. And you guys are live tonight, 10 p.m. in Ireland, 5 p.m. East Coast time.
Yep.
Am I missing anything, guys?
Nope, just all the best of luck, and let us know how everything goes. We'll be watching.
Thanks
all
for
right,
having
thanks,
us.
guys. We'll see you when
guys.
we go to space, all right?
Yeah.
All right. The infinity
All right.
and beyond.
All right, I'll see you soon. All right. Well, I apologize for There we go. All right. So we have heard from the pilot. We've heard from one of the partners at Tobacco Barn Distillery. I'm learning something. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a little jealous you have sunglasses on right now.
Hey, I would have brought you a pair.
I was supposed to have aviators. I forgot that.
You're about to get a donation.
This is why we have the most talented hand model in America working with us.
Yeah, you should have put your hands in front of the camera.
All right. So before we go to our next guest, we're gonna do. We got to remind everybody why we're here. Alex is going to be leaving very shortly, but before she goes, she's going to show everyone the Harrier jet that is going to be carrying.
Try that.
Is going to be carrying. There we go. Oh yes, there's the Harrier jet. Perfect shot, Alex. So that jet right there, we have learned is the only flying Harrier jet owned by a private civilian in the world. There are other Harrier jets. They are not capable of flying. This is owned by Knowles Aviation. It's one of 2 Harrier jets that they own. And Mr. Art Null is pretty much world famous, I think it's safe to say. And he's going to be flying this jet today. So to the left, Alex could just show everyone real quick. This is another jet owned by Knowles Aviation. This is the BD-5. This is a workable jet. Mr. Knowles owns 5 of these. They are used for the U.S. government to test security systems, testing for intercontinental ballistic missiles, to see that if we can receive them on our radars around our big cities here on the East Coast and also up in Alaska, I believe. All right, so thank you, Alex, who is going to turn the camera back around. Alex, hopefully you get to be on camera shortly. That is a good shot right there, Alex. Alex is going to be actually getting in a golf cart, following the jet, and she's going to be filming the takeoff of the jet. Now, Dominic, you are really doing something over there.
Just giving everybody a time hack.
We're going to do.
Just taking team photos up by the aircraft.
We're doing an update right now. This is Scott Sanders giving an update live in the hangar.
The aircraft will start being towed out to the runway for takeoff a little bit after that. Art, you'll be taking off here on the way to the acrobatic box that he has set with the FAA. It's basically over the Patuxent River. The critical part of that flight is to go over Tobacco Barn Distillery in Maryland as fast and as loud as you possibly can, because we're related to all our neighbors up there and nobody's going to complain. After that, you'll head up the Patuxent River for those of you familiar, there's a place called Sandgate. That's the northern part of the box. And then I turn around and come back down. And so that just wanted to give everybody an update. We've got about 15 minutes to go to the aircraft get towed out.
Okay, so that was Mr. Admiral Scott Sanders from Tobacco Barn Distillery, a key stakeholder in making this event happen, an event where we are putting Maryland bourbon on the bottom of a Harrier jet, flying the jet, going 700 miles an hour, and calling it the world's fastest distilled bourbon. Now, we will be joined by Rachel Labatt. She will be joining. She's off camera right now. Rachel, why don't you go ahead and join us? Hello, Rachel.
Hi.
Hey.
So,
good friend.
Quick background. She's gonna also correct me if I'm wrong. Rachel is a flight test engineer.
Yes.
For.
Yes. So I am with the Naval Test Wing Atlantic. I work on the P-8 Poseidon at the P-8 ITT at Pax River Naval Air Station. I'm a proud flight test engineer, and I love supporting those who serve us.
So we met Rachel during the pandemic. We were working with and starting a nonprofit called Southern Maryland Loves You, which was creating PPE, sanitizing PPE, working with musicians like Dominic. And Rachel was introduced to us because she was working on a really cool project that was turning breast pumps for new mothers into ventilators. And so we kind of all came together in one place, and Rachel, out of all the volunteers for the nonprofit, we just can't get her to go away. So, and obviously I'm kidding, But Rachel got involved shortly after helping us. You got involved with the Miss Maryland pageants, and I think a new pageant, if you want to share that with everybody.
Yes. So out of Miss Maryland Earth USA, I was able to compete and was also able to secure a place at New York Fashion Week. I will be a model walking in New York Fashion Week between September 8th and 12th. I got second runner up at Miss Maryland Earth USA, and I am looking forward to my first ever fashion show, Fashion Week, in nonetheless New York.
It's pretty good.
Wow.
And
Her first one.
When is
I
that?
can't wait. It is September 8th through 12th. So
Wow.
it's coming up really
That's real
soon.
soon.
It
This has
is.
been rapid fire. In these
It
pageants for
has.
you. Yeah. Is there like a circuit that you're like a season or something?
Once you get your name out there and you start communicating to people and you tell them your platform, you tell them who you want to surround yourself with, and you show that you're hardworking and that you really want to be there, it all comes down to opportunities being presented and not saying no. Just
Yeah,
being
right.
like, yes, I would love to do that.
Sounds like being a musician.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a fashion show?
I have not been in a fashion.
I feel like
show.
that's
We should
something.
hold
I
one.
have.
That's actually not a bad idea. We could do a fashion
We
show.
should do a fashion show. I have had makeup and salt spray in my hair and taken lots of pictures.
I forgot my bronzer today. No, and I'm dead serious, by the way. It's hot out. You know, it gets all shiny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when you competed in the local, I believe it was like an Earth pageant.
Yes.
What did you have to do for that?
For that one, I also had to do a swimsuit, an evening gown, and an interview. We did that very similar to the Miss Maryland USA pageant. This one was a lot smaller. Miss Maryland USA had over 100 girls, which is incredible.
It was big.
And this Miss Maryland Earth USA did not have as many, but it was so wonderful to be able to meet everyone. I even saw a few familiar faces and got to really reconnect with all the girls. They're incredible. And I had an absolute blast. The pageant director is incredible. The former Miss Maryland USA actually became Miss Maryland Earth USA became one of my close friends too, and she's about to get married. And I'm just so proud of all of them. I can't wait to continuing with this adventure.
So Dominic and I were having this conversation the other day. From the first time that a news camera was in the room and you had to talk on camera.
You guys were my first experience.
to
I can't believe that. You know?
Yeah.
to now.
Just because of where you are now. It's like
You've gone a long way in like 12 months.
I really appreciate your help
that's
too.
true. I mean, I don't know if we did anything except for stick a camera and a microphone in your face, but yeah.
Apparently that was something, but you know what? Or just we bumble like idiots and we just don't stop. So you know what? Maybe anybody can do it.
I have great examples to look up to. And I can't thank you guys enough for all of your help.
It's not what I was looking for. But
Well, it's true because even from the last, it was we previously stated in this conversation, we were talking about the farmers market that was at the airport. That was one of my very first times being a Miss Maryland USA finalist, trying to talk to people and put my voice out there, let them know who I am. That was one of my first experiences, and that was with you guys. You guys really helped secure that push and get my confidence up.
Well, you are doing great, and there's a couple of questions in the chat. One of them being, when can you buy the bourbon that is going to be on the bottom of the Harrier jet? The answer to that is right now. You can go online and buy it.
I'm not sure. I know that you can also when you this event, you were reserving
the right
to buy
one, yes.
purchase a bottle when they were available.
But what Mr. Null just told us, which is news to me, but it's fine, is they can't actually allow people to drink it until November, because it has to age for 2 complete full years. Now, if you want to buy it, you should buy it today, because there are a lot of
There's only
people.
so many bottles of it.
Yeah, there's only so many bottles. It's expensive. I believe it's $145 a bottle.
145 a bottle.
That's not cheap. I think I've saw something called Henry the 16th one time. I don't know if you've ever seen this.
No.
Oh my God, the bottles are like $18,000.
Wow.
Well, this one's way
I don't
better.
drink, and I wouldn't.
So in context,
This one's way better.
in context, thank you, Rachel. This is way better. The money goes to charity. Rachel also is here because the work that she's doing, a lot of it goes towards helping charities, in particular, one that's dear to us, which is Southern Maryland Loves You. And also, I believe that now that you are second runner-up to the Miss Maryland Earth
USA.
There's Earth USA. There's
Yeah.
also a charity component to that.
Oh yeah.
So that's why we're here today.
She also helped us on our last event where we raised $5,000 for Pathfinders for Autism.
We did an event with the helicopter.
About what, a month or two ago?
Yeah.
$5,000 for autism. Before that, the guys from Ireland were joining us. We raised money on St. Patrick's Day. You were actually in the helicopter dropping
Yep.
the corks. So we appreciate you for keeping coming back.
I love this event. Everyone who's pulled together for this has been truly inspirational, between the artwork, between the pilots, between Tobacco Barn Distillery, with you two. I can't thank everyone enough for this.
Great point. Before Rachel leaves, Hank Caruso is
Yes.
the artist that has done fantastic
Straight up.
artwork. I don't know, Alex, if you're still here with us, could you scroll up above us? And keep going. And there you go. So you guys can see right above us, there is a illustration created by Hank Caruso, who is also world famous individual.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, but everybody that's doing these things, Hank Caruso is a world-renowned artist. Art Knowles is a world-renowned aviator and awarded aviator. And Scott Sanders is an admiral or former admiral. All these people have done very significant things and all live in Southern Maryland, in St. Mary's and Calvert County.
That's true. And
Including Rachel.
And Hank's here.
And Hank's
and
going to talk
And
soon.
Hank is here. Hank's actually going to join us. I don't know what we're going to do when Alex actually has to leave. We're going to just have to
I got you.
We're going to just have to. Oh, Rachel's going to help us. I was going to just throw things at people. All right. Any more questions? Do you have anything you want to share, Rachel, about any upcoming events? Can you remind everybody when the fashion show is?
Fashion show is September 8th through 12th. I am doing it with VIP pageantry. So a lot of the top pageant designers in evening gowns will be there. So
If you see anything that I would look really good in, would you please?
for sure.
Whoa. Oh, I guess it's not going to
Here we go. We got some
So
announcements
you
coming
see
up.
they're loading up the Harrier with water now. So,
Loading the Harrier with water.
In case he has to do a vertical landing when he comes back, so this is a precautionary thing. And they'll be loading up water. The L-39 is being towed out right now. You see it for those, they're going to be taking off to the west. So runway 27 here, so you'll hear them go out there. The L-39 will take off first with B-12 is the pilot, and Will G in the back. They will do one circle around here. Art will take off, kind of follow them. They'll do a loop here, and then you'll see the part of northeast. So we're looking at about 10 minutes.
Okay, so that was Scott Sanders of Tobacco and Distillery, one of the key individuals to put this event together. I believe what he just said is we're going to start towing in 10 minutes. Is that correct?
I missed it.
Okay, so okay, Alex is paying attention. The jet, I believe, gets towed by another plane, if I'm not mistaken. Alex is going to let us know when she gets on the golf cart that follows it. But the jet's going to get towed down the runway. And then today we're not doing a vertical takeoff because it's very humid. You're a flight test engineer. What does that mean for fuel?
Oh gosh, this question is out of my range. I am all electronics, and
So
I have no
tell you what
idea.
I'll tell you what it means for fuel.
thank you.
The air we all breathe actually has weight to it. And so the more humid the air, the more water's in the air, it's heavier. So it's harder to take off and hover. These jets actually do best when taking off vertically when the air is thin, which is I believe, and someone out there in aviation land can correct me, I believe this was created so that it could take off from areas that had kind of high altitude, weird terrain. If you needed to get in somewhere quickly or get out of somewhere quickly, kind of a mountainous area, these jets were thought to be used for that. Now, I can tell you guys, Dominic did his homework as well. They're very hard to fly. And the vertical takeoff burns a ton of fuel, and there were some accidents along the way. So there aren't a ton of these planes out there. So sorry to put you on the spot, Rachel.
It's okay. I learn something new every day.
And if you haven't really checked out a Harrier jet, there's plenty of videos on YouTube. If you just go on and type in Harrier jet vertical takeoff, it's pretty
cool.
It's pretty rad to see it do that and take off and land.
I mean, you don't need a runway.
You don't need a run. It's called vertical and / vertical short takeoff and landing, and they can take off either straight up, take off and land straight up and down, or they can take off with not very much runway space.
Even when they're taking off like a normal jet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like, you know how on a Carrier, it seems on the Carrier they do the slingshot for most of the planes.
Right.
The Harrier
The catapult,
doesn't need a catapult.
Interesting.
That's incredible. It's kind of like a C-130 when it took off from an aircraft carrier. Very short takeoff.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, you can hope Dominic or Rachel. So basically, the reason that most planes need all that room is to gain the speed to push them up.
Right.
Because they're heavy. So I don't know what it is, Dominic. Maybe you read the encyclopedia.
Didn't.
What is it about this plane that lets them do that? Is it just the engine must be bigger?
I didn't go.
I don't know. If anyone out there is listening, tell us why this plane can take off with less space.
Yeah.
We've got Admiral Sanders walking over towards us.
Dan, the master distiller.
The master distiller. Rachel, you've been fabulous. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate
So we
you
got Dan, the
guys.
master distiller, joining us. While we have some time, I am Tommy Luganville, joined by Dominic Fragman from Sonic Spirits, doing interesting things in the community, partnered with Paul Murphy and Jerry Murphy, who are not here today, but they are in spirit.
Sonic Spirits.
Quickly, do you want to tell everyone what you guys do, and then we're going to have the master distiller join us.
Sonic Spirits and Tommy Luganville, because we are currently stationed out of Tombro Studios.
That's true.
Basically work to share the mindset of creativity and innovation because we believe it leads to greater freedom as well as increased positive community spirit and values. So we have gained recognition for making a new sound in music, so we sort of practice creativity in that way, but what we put forward in that, we put on display through our music is innovation, creativity, freedom, mutual listening, open communication, positive interaction towards progress, and the exploration and embracing of different ideas and perspectives. So we have a weekly show called Progress Culture that you can find on YouTube. You can find on progressculture.org or sonic-spirits.com. And we put out shows every week. And Alex, North America's greatest hand model, and Tommy and Jerry and Paul and I, we do this show every week, and we talk to people of varying expertises from aviation to politics. We've had state delegates on the show. We've had physicists and therapists and all kinds of ists. And
But the key to Dominic and his partner's music and to what they do is improvising.
It's completely
improvised. Which is
improvised.
probably why there's a whole bunch of chaos going on around us, but we continue to track forward in this conversation.
Because we do it all the time.
And speaking of improvising, we're improvising with a guest who's off screen here, which is Dan. Dan, would you like to join us? Dan
Dawson.
Dan Dawson, master distiller and partner of Tobacco Barn Distillery.
Good to have you.
Oh, nice to be here.
Well, thank you for having us, actually.
That's all Scott. Just show up where Scott asked me to show up.
I don't know.
So when Scott told you this idea, being a partner of his, what was your first reaction to putting your bourbon on the bottom of a jet?
Well, it sounded like a good idea. It's going to be easy. I mean, trying to work through all logistics were afterthoughts. In fact, some of those afterthoughts finished up around 10:30 last night.
So you shouldn't tell people. Well, if the FAA is listening, maybe.
No. It's all good
fun.
engineering.
Yeah. Most good engineering's at the last minute.
Well, we called an audible around 3 o'clock yesterday when we realized that we couldn't fit a fully loaded 25-gallon barrel into the fuel tank and guarantee that we could secure the aft part of the tank in its mating receptacle. That makes sense. Because imagine just you're trying to push it in like that, and it's blind. You can't see behind it.
Okay.
At least the first one you can see, but the second one you can't. So at around 2 o'clock, we said that's not going to work. We're going to put them in empty. That means we have to machine, and by me, our machinist, the engineer that's actually doing is some access ports. So if you look on the top of the drop tank, there are 2 3-inch access ports.
Okay.
Directly below that are the bungs of the barrels. So we put them all in, bolted them all up, torqued all the bolts, got everything good to go. It's very securely mounted. And then we had to fill them. But, the clock is ticking. So we didn't start filling until about 9:30 last night.
Wow.
So the thunderstorm came through at about 10:20.
That was quite a storm.
It was.
Yeah.
And so we're standing on top of these fuel tanks down by the distillery. We've got a loader with a big tank of bourbon, gravity feeding in. And the last tanker is about 20% full. Thankfully, it goes pretty quickly when the lightning and thunder starts coming in kind of danger close.
Yeah, it was.
So that was the exciting part.
So you didn't have to hand pump this?
No. That was we had a couple of different ways we thought we could do it. But gravity, every now and then you got to trust gravity. I'm not a big fan of gravity today, by the way.
Yeah,
The jet.
I was going to say.
Because everything Art's going to do is opposite gravity.
Anti-gravity.
Anti-gravity.
Yes. Okay, so as the master distiller, that's your title, right?
Well, they gave me that title. Yeah, I don't even know.
Titles like that,
How
aren't
do
they?
you become a master distiller?
I don't know.
I've
been doing it for 10,000 hours.
I've done that. I
there you
had
go.
my first license to distill from the federal government in 1980.
Wow.
So that's a long time ago.
So you got some history to and is Dawson's in Severna Park? Was that your family?
No.
Okay.
Actually, no. So I got involved during the gas crisis. The gas crisis in 1979, and started making fuel, and that's where I first really learned how to distill, and then didn't do it for a while.
We're talking like ethanol?
Yeah, ethanol. Yeah. And my dad let me have a 1,000 gallon still in our garage. It was very, very accommodating parents. I was
1,000 gallons still.
I was 18 years old.
Speaking of that, are my parents here? They're somewhere around here.
How did you get into that though?
Yeah.
I don't know. There wasn't this thing called the internet, so it was.
Yeah, where did you go to the library?
Library, yeah. It went to a library. I got some books on. Actually, my dad again was kind of into Mother Earth news and organic farming and all that kind of movement in the 70s.
Yeah.
And so we had some stuff, some literature that was talking about being able to make fuel out of ethanol, and then I did the research and realized that the first automobiles were designed to burn ethanol, not petroleum. So that kind of worked. And anyway, did the whole thing, and that's how I got into it. Then we got out of it, went to school, became an engineer, flight test type work, and now we do this.
Okay, so as the master distiller, Scott's going to chime in as the marketing guy.
Yeah, let him do that.
Maybe you. No, I want you to chime in.
Bourbon Relationships Director.
Bourbon Relationships Director. Okay, so we are creating the fastest distilled bourbon. Is that a play on words? As in, this will literally be the fastest speed bourbon has ever been distilled.
Well, it's already been distilled, so it aged.
Okay.
Bourbon's about maturation. And most people just want low, slow maturation, which we do too.
But this is counter to that.
Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of both. So this bourbon has already been maturing in our rick house. In fact, I selected the 8 barrels personally, and I was by myself. So it
was all you.
You know why? They were the closest and easiest ones to do, and I had to pick them up myself. So the bourbon's great. This is really nicely aged bourbon already. We're putting it in a new charred, bigger barrel, and because they fit just inside those tanks.
Yes.
And then something's going to happen when Art takes over and finishes the maturation process.
Something magical.
Something acceleration. Temperature changes, differential pressure, orientation.
I agree with all of these points.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about the barrel anyway. So I mean, we're just going to give this bourbon an e-ticket.
So let me ask you this. This is my last question because he looks like he's going to yank you off screen. I don't know why. Will you actually drink it?
Oh, absolutely.
You will drink it.
Of course I will.
When are you going to start drinking it?
Well, it's going to come
straight from the bottom as soon as it lands.
No,
You got to wait till November, right?
We're gonna pull it back out and then put it back in the rickhouse. You know, it's like it's got to calm itself down. You've heard of that bottle shock? It's like barrel shock.
Yeah.
So you know,
it's alive.
I mean, I get it from the words that you're using, but I had no idea.
Imagine, you know, even a slight pressure differential, the agitation is going to drive that stuff. The heat temperature is going to pull things in and out. We're going to let it kind of come back out. This bourbon is in a brand new charred barrel. It's been already in a charred brand new barrel the first time, so we keep the whole bourbon lineage by putting it in a new barrel. But it just needs some time to kind of collect its thoughts and mature and everything that it's going to do. So I'm thinking probably November, December, whatever.
November, December.
Yeah, something like that.
Party at your house.
Party at the Distillery.
So
Party at the Distillery. I like it.
There's one last question from the comments, and I answered this, but I want to confirm. So people can buy the bottles online now, but they can't receive it.
Right, because they're not in bottles.
Right.
Yeah.
But they can purchase the rights to the bottles today.
Yeah. I mean, there's 100 gallons there. And so depending if Art does a good job, we'll get 100 gallons back. And then how many bottles? We'll have to figure out what our losses, you know, what's going to stay inside the barrel.
Sure.
It is what it is, but not that much.
All right. Well, one last thank you. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's fun. First time I've been on one of these.
Well, here we are.
We're gonna do it again. This is.
We're going to space
with you guys.
I know.
We're going to space next.
That's the idea, apparently.
So we'll get Elon Musk involved.
Elon sent us a response to one of our tweets.
Did he?
Yeah, because Scott delivers in a Tesla, and he did put some on Instagram showing, you know, first Tesla bourbon delivery or something like that, and we got a response from Elon.
What did he say?
Well, it was actually the prayer hands.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was an emoji. It wasn't a complete.
That's pretty good.
That's
That's pretty
It's
good.
very legit.
So now I'm gonna get on Twitter while I'm sitting here, and Alex, we got to get this at Elon Musk. We're gonna get a photo of this jet.
SpaceX is the next.
We gotta get bourbon on SpaceX.
Progress culture.
I mean, they put a little bit of bourbon in a test tube and put it up at the International Space Station. I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
It actually wasn't bourbon. It was whiskey, and it's spelled a little differently than ours. So it was either Irish or Scottish.
Yeah.
It's, you know, once it wasn't bourbon, I was out. But they put a little sliver of wood to get some char in it, and I think when they came back, they said it didn't really improve in space.
So maybe it's that gravity.
The second time's the charm. Well, when you guys do it, it'll taste better.
I'm sure if Elon or Bezos or somebody does it, it's going to be really good bourbon.
All right. Anyone out there who works for SpaceX or knows Elon Musk, we want to talk to you so that we can do this event again on a rocket.
Excellent. Good idea.
And this will be the master distiller.
Okay, guys.
Dan, thank you.
Hey, thank you, guys.
All right, we appreciate it.
See you next time.
See you next time.
One more guest before she leaves. We're gonna have Alex take over for your spot right here.
Super. Okay.
Alex, World North America's whatever. I guess I just promoted you.
North America's
greatest hand model. Also the camera person for today, and live scene reporter.
This is true.
Welcome. You're gonna have to speak up so everyone can hear you.
Sorry, I'm very quiet. Hello.
So I wanted you to sit down for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, apparently your grandparents always ask you what you do.
Funny enough, my grandfather is watching right now, so hello,
Is he
Pap.
watching?
He
Hi,
is.
Pap.
All right, so I kind of had a hunch that Pap would be watching.
He is.
Hold on, Pap. We're getting an announcement, and then we're gonna come back to Alex.
Until the aircraft out, cooling down a little bit. Got a little bit of cloud cover here so that the cockpits can get cooled down a little bit. Just I had a couple questions on, hey, should I drive to the distillery to watch the jets fly over? Well, you can, but just so you know, that will be about 8 seconds. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome. It's about 10 minutes away. But again, they'll be taking off here. Ken Reed, I'll have one of the handheld radios. So we will replay, or I'll have the radio here so you will hear what's going on in the cockpit right here in the hangar. So that will be going on. We will also have Mark will be coming back here, obviously, at the end of the flight, and then we're going to be swapping in on the L-39 jet. Just let you know that, again, the aircraft will be towed out of here shortly.
Okay, that was Admiral Scott Sanders from Tobacco Distillery giving announcements. People watching online, thank you for your patience. There's a lot happening around us, so we're doing our best. Okay, back to our conversation. Pappy?
His name's Pappy, but I call him Pap.
All right, what's Pap's real name?
Paul
Paul
Andrews.
Paul Andrews. Hello, Mr. Andrews.
And my mother, so hi, Mom.
Hello, Miss
Andrews Walker.
Hello, Miss Julie Andrews Walker. This is what Alex does. If you didn't see before, she was also showing us the jet that'll be taking off with Bourbon. She's also a frequent guest on Dominic's show.
She's a frequent guest. She's a frequent do everything.
I told
Camera woman.
Ken Reed was just here and he was asking what I do. I'm like, I'm basically a jack of all trades, is what I like to call myself.
I like that. That's pretty good. And Ken Reed is the gentleman who owns the
Jeanette
airport.
of all trades, or Jacqueline of all trades.
Jill.
Jill
Jill. Yeah,
a
Jack,
Jill of
and,
all
Jack
trades.
and Jill.
All right.
So Alex,
Making our own terms
that
now.
was point number one, just so that Pappy knew what you did. And then point number two / question is, what are you looking forward to most at today's event?
I'm watching it live because I'm like one of the people who get to watch it live take off.
That was me allowing you to do a humble brag. So for those of you who don't know, I just let Alex brag to everyone watching. She's getting on a golf cart. She's following the jet. And she will be probably one of the closest people to the jet taking off. So I think this is pretty good for your young resume.
I think so.
How do you put this on a resume is my question.
You're asking the wrong person. I have no idea how I'm going to.
Sat in golf cart with Harrier jet.
I bet people would ask me what that means and how it's beneficial to my work.
It's a good icebreaker. It is a good icebreaker.
I can say I'm also helping a nonprofit.
You are helping a nonprofit. And remind everyone, who are we raising money for today?
Simplify Fund Foundation.
So we gave Alex a bracelet just so she would remember who we were raising money for. These are actually, we're wearing them just so she doesn't feel bad.
You know, since we're all remembering what this organization is, it's actually called the Semper Fi and America's Fund.
Thank you,
It started off as the Semper Fi Fund. After Operation Iraqi Freedom, they were bringing home all the Marines, and it was focused primarily on the Marines who were wounded and their families to help them, continue to operate or get back on their feet or any of those things.
Right.
And eventually, in the first year of the organization, it started with I can't remember his name. Her first name was Karen, and they started in her house, and they raised $5 million in the first year, and then they kept growing, and then I can't remember the exact year, but Semper Fi Fund became And America's Fund because they switched from focus on just the Marines to all the armed forces, and they've raised. As of June, I believe they had raised up to $265 million for the veterans and wounded soldiers.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think underpins a lot of this stuff is some of it seems extravagant. However, it's extravagance for a purpose, because each time we do one of these events, we are raising money for charity.
Yeah. And proceeds from the purchase of the bottles, from the tickets, and from the bottles themselves at 145. That's not all profit for Tobacco Barn Distillery. They're giving back. That's how we're donating here.
And you're also getting donations of talent, right? So you have Mr. Null, who is literally donating his time as a pilot, his fuel. And then I'll embarrass Dominic, but you have Dominic sitting here donating his talent, which is understanding how to put multimedia together and be in front of the camera. And
E2 también.
Well, I just talk. I'm donating my voice, and my daughter gets plenty of that every day, and she already wants me to shut up, and she can't even talk. Oh wow! So off camera, we actually have my parents' dog, Blue. I don't know if we're going to interview Blue. I really hope he doesn't get in trouble and run onto the runway. We'll call him a service dog for today because he is someone that does sometimes go and help young people and things like that. But I'm surprised to see him here today.
This is where I first met Blue. When we did the plane parade.
So he's been to a plane parade.
Remember that?
He's a white lab. He's very overweight.
But he's so cuddly.
He's very cuddly, kind of looks like a Arctic seal.
It does feel like
It looks like a seal. He's got like the little flippers for his legs.
very happy.
But he's a very
always
happy
happy.
dog. And you know what? It's in the spirit of what we're doing here today. I actually saw another dog here. So Alex, before you go, is there anything you want to say to Pappy?
Well, I was just informed by my mother. He waved at the TV and said hello. So I'll say hello again.
Well,
Hi, Pap.
Hi,
we
I
didn't
love
see you, but hello, Pappy. Alex Walker,
Yes.
got anything you want to share? Okay. All right, Alex, thanks for helping us today. And you will be seeing the takeoff. That will be Alex recording it on our phone. And we thank you for being here.
Thanks, guys.
It's going to be a bunch of pictures of everybody that's
Yeah.
been at the table.
He's taking live photos.
All right, so let me make sure we are still on target here. Yes, so I believe we're going to be talking to
Hank Caruso.
Hank Caruso, world-renowned artist who designed all the artwork. Alex, while we still have you, can you show the viewers out there what we are doing here today by showing them the Harrier jet? And we're going to pan over to the Harrier jet. Maybe, and blue. There's the baby seal. Off camera to the left, in front of the Harrier jet is Blue, my parents' dog. I can tell you, I never thought I'd see him next to a jet. Then again, I never thought I would be hosting an event for charity with Dominic with a jet. As a reminder, because we do have more viewers here today, Dominic, why don't you tell everyone what we're doing?
Today, this is the 7-hour bourbon event where we are distilling bourbon in the fuel fuselages of a Harrier.
Right, I always say that wrong.
It's a tricky word.
Yeah.
Fuselage. Oh, well, wait, let's interrupt this here because we have someone very special, a world-renowned artist. Hank Caruso is going to join us. Would you come and sit?
I'm gonna let Dominic. You're gonna take it away.
Oh, no. How you doing today?
Good, thanks.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
an
great.
honor.
This is a fabulous event.
Yeah, it's. We were just explaining that we've got bourbon tobacco from Tobacco Barn Distillery that is being put in the fuel fuselages of Art Knowles' Harrier jet, and you did the artwork
That's
for
right.
the 700-mile-an-hour bourbon,
That was-
among many other things.
I'll
That
hold
was
it for
this.
you.
And this is the calendar. This award-winning calendar.
This is it has won awards, yes.
Yes, that's right. Well, tell us about that.
The calendar. This is the 41st year that I've been just.
Why are you blocking your face?
Jeez, man, tough director over here. Sorry. Keep going.
So-
44th year.
41st. When I
41st.
started this, I had no idea that this was going to be something that was 4 decades plus.
Wow.
It was just kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd run out of ideas. Then the more people I met and the more aviation stories I got, there's just no time to do all of the ideas.
Right.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
It's been a blast.
What a great problem to have.
So, and it's kind of it's a greeting card each year to people that I know.
It's great.
So it's been a blast to be able to tell so many stories, good caricatures,
Right.
but they're caricatures about real things. They're actual, the stories are real, the people are
Right,
real,
right.
the airplanes are real.
And you have personal experience in that world, right?
I have a few dozen hours backseat time, yeah.
Yeah.
Not on a Harrier, but with Top Gun,
A few dozen hours
yeah.
in a Blue Angel.
No, not in the Blue. Well, that was just 1 hour.
That's 1 hour more than most of us.
It was one air show. Actually, 3 times. Once was a solo hop with the A4s. Once was a formation flight with the 18s.
Oh,
And then
that would be awesome.
and then a hop in the Fat Albert.
Is that how you became an honorary aviator, number 27?
It is. I really don't know all of the background because the person who nominated me was a 3-star admiral,
Wow.
but I had no idea.
So, Mr.
Yes.
Caruso, sorry to interrupt you, but
We towing?
we're towing the plane away. We're
Yeah,
going
we're
to show
gonna
everybody.
Oh yeah.
So you can keep talking because they can still hear you. When did you get involved in this project?
It was a couple of years ago. Whatever the date is on here, the
Okay,
2019.
you see the Harrier is
wait.
now getting towed out. I had several friends who emailed me about this flight when we said 1 o'clock takeoff, we're going to do this. And they said, hey, Scott, that's pretty sporty. schedule an event based on Harrier availability. So anybody who understands the Harrier and how complex a machine it is and all the moving parts, 1 o'clock is just kind of close. So we're getting ready to go on out there. If I did want to mention to people, if you haven't gotten your meal, please go get your meal. We'll probably shut down the food truck here while they're flying. So make sure you get your meal before then. The food's delicious. I just went and had the beef over there. And afterwards, we're going to come back here, as I mentioned before. So just want to let you know we're getting close, because once the area gets going, that means I'll just say most of the issues have been taken care of. There's still a few more between here and the run. Talk to you in a few minutes.
Okay, that was Admiral Scott Sanders of Tobacco Barn Distillery updating everybody. The Harrier is being towed to the runway. Alex, who was just on camera, is going to be following it out. She's going to be piped in after we do an interview with Mr. Caruso. There might be a few minutes, and then when Alex is ready, we'll tell everybody. So we were talking about basically when you got involved with this event.
It was a couple of years ago. Scott mentioned it. We're neighbors, basically. We're both in neighborhood 1 over at Wildwood. So I don't remember the exact details, but it just seemed like a fun thing to do. We worked in, of course, we had to have their barrel under the wings, but there's a blue crab flying the airplane. We got the Maryland state colors on the tail. Otherwise, we tried to get it as close to Art's British Sea Harrier as we could, but a few little bits of Liberty license. There's a 700 on the nose. We're hoping that's the speed that they get to.
Oh, he better get to that.
Well, it'll be close if he can't.
We can stretch it a little bit. Is this a mouth on the
Yes,
front
it
of the
is.
jet?
Yes, it is.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they have to have personalities.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed, and well, definitely key to all your work. But that's what you were saying before, is that these things are from the stories and the ideas of the planes themselves.
And the people.
Right.
The frequency is 120.30.
We've got
basically
Admiral Sanders, who is going to try to pipe in the cockpit to inside the hangar. If that place, I'll stay sitting here. Dominic, you can do what you'd like, because I'm going to make sure that we get Alex on screen. But if the cockpit is coming into the hangar, it should be picked up by our microphone. But we'll let everybody know. So, okay, on that same thread, there are also eyeballs on this.
Yes.
So are every single one of your characters alive?
Yes.
They are.
Because the airplanes are.
Interesting. Oh, now this is a Dominic question.
No,
Okay.
go for it.
Tell us what you mean by every airplane is alive.
I guess, I don't know if I have to explain, I'd understand the concept.
Trust me, we've talked about some crazy things.
But they do have their own personalities. You talk to any pilot, they will tell you that. But they have their own personalities. They have their own characteristics. Even though they are the same model and look the same, they aren't all the same.
Right.
Some of them just behave differently than others. In fact, if you talk to the Blue Angels,
right,
they're flying very close and very well-defined positions. But then, if for some reason there's a maintenance issue, they may not be flying the same airplane they're used to. In which case, there's just the slightest little bit of idiosyncrasy to it.
Sure.
Yeah. So each one handles just a little different. It's just different things.
So when these guys tell you like those qualities and characteristics of the planes and how they're feeling, you put that in your illustration.
I generally don't ask them about that, but I just kind of listen to how they talk about it.
Sure, okay.
And listen to the stories they tell, because that's where the real information is. If you try and ask these questions specifically, you're not going to get the answers you want.
They'll tell you what they think.
They'll tell you what they think when they don't think you're asking about it.
Right.
It's better to be a fly on the wall and just listen a lot.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? That's true with most things in life.
It is.
Sometimes it's what people don't say. Sometimes
that too. That is exactly right. Or if you ask a question and there's not much of a response, or there's a calculated pause. Okay, there was some information there that maybe you should pay attention to, but maybe not ask another question on. So there's a lot to it. Like I said, I have always seen personalities in airplanes as a kid. So that's why I said, I wasn't trying to be too facetious, but
No.
when I say they're alive, it's kind of hard for me not to see it that way. And I want to try and put that kind of personality in the airplanes. They're anthropomorphic. I want to show where the muscles are, and where the lines of stress are, where the loads are taking place.
I love the color choice too. Does that have to do with the mood that you're trying to set, or is it completely?
It usually is. It's just what seems right.
What seems right.
Very rarely do I try to go for something that has a specific color scheme to it.
Right.
Because the sky, depending on the airplane, I want something that's going to match it. If the story is about a flight at sunset or in the evening, then I have to do it differently. But then if it's at night, how do you show the airplane? How do you light the airplane?
Yeah, right.
So it comes about as a part of the storytelling and the overall picture. There's a piece right now that I did for a gentleman that flew in Vietnam in a A6, and they had commissioned it because of their flight. And I just realized I'm going to draw the whole thing, like it's night vision goggles.
Interesting.
I've never done that, but it just seemed like that's what it ought to be.
Yeah, right.
So a lot of it is just what comes into my head at the time. Sometimes I don't even know when I start. It's like, oh, wait, this looks good. I'll just keep going that direction.
A lot of improvising. Or is it somewhere deep down?
I wouldn't use the word improvise, but it's I'm not sure. It's
stream of consciousness.
Stream of consciousness, intuitive.
Yeah. Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Did you always draw, or did just one day 40 years ago you just happened to do this?
40 years ago, thank you.
You told us 40 years.
Yeah, I've got it on the calendar.
Yeah, that was what you opened with. 41 years.
No, but you were.
I gave you a little liberty. I took a year off. No, but
no, I've always been drawing.
Okay.
And I've always been involved with publications. Even back in grammar school, I was the newsletter that they put out in 4th grade or whatever it was.
Nice.
So I've always been involved with a publication.
I want to find one of those on eBay.
I don't think you will.
No. That's a challenge, by the way.
But the idea of doing the calendar and publishing as well. If you keep the ideas all to yourself, it's no fun. And this is a matter of sharing with people that like this, that are part of this community, and sharing the thoughts and the fun.
So Dominic, you told me an interesting book that Mr. Caruso just wrote.
No, it wasn't just wrote. In 2016, I believe you wrote a book called Honey, We're Pregnant.
No, actually it was 2000. It was 1997.
Oh.
70.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, 70.
So
you
wrote that in
we're a few decades off here.
I thought you're on
no,
the thing that I read.
It was done for my son as a wedding, as a birth announcement.
So it's going to get real loud here soon. The Harrier jet's turning on. So
I want to hear about that.
Okay.
If we can get to that point, I'm going to go ahead and stand up and turn the camera just so everyone can see it. Dominic, if people can hear you, you can talk.
I don't know.
That is awesome noise. That's what we've been waiting to hear. As everybody knows, this is a Royal Navy Sea Harrier. It's the second Sea Harrier ever built.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Test and evaluation. It's the only one remaining because the first one crashed during a flight test. The tail is from the first aircraft. So this is the oldest Sea Harrier in existence today.
Didn't know that. It's got a lot of
war in the box.
provenance to it.
4 25-gallon bourbon barrels in there, and this is something that no bourbon has ever experienced before. The vibration and the noise from being in it. So,
Yeah, that's true.
just so people understand.
So it's also the highest decibel level.
Yeah, right. This is the world's loudest bourbon.
This bourbon has already been
The bourbon that has withstood the most noise.
in these 25-gallon
You can hear
bourbon barrels.
All right.
By Dan Dawson.
We were just
There's
commenting
one Island.
on Scott's.
Making sure.
Yeah.
It's, once we take off, right now, we've already set one world record with bourbon right now. We're getting ready to set 3 today.
Oh yeah, Dominic taking close-up photos right now.
Yep.
For those of you who are watching, you've got Dominic Sonic Spirits. You've got Tommy Louisville speaking and Hank Caruso. Hank is a he created the logo for this event, which I believe is available for people to purchase.
Yes.
So it's a little loud. Hopefully you can hear me. But the Harrier jet is on, and we have someone on site that's going to be showing us the takeoff. Alex, if you can hear me, I still can't see your camera, but I see you. I see you have entered the studio. Either way, we're going to show people the jet get towed away, and it's starting to heat up, getting a little louder. All right, warming down. Got to give people a play-by-play. So where can people purchase the artwork for not only this event, but also for some of the other things that you've done?
I have a website, not the best, but it's www.aerocatures, AEROCATURES. There it is.
Aerocatures.com is where you can see Mr. Caruso's artwork.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're getting a little glitchy. I think a lot of people turned on their cell phones as soon as the jet turned on, and they all probably connected to the Wi-Fi. So
That's right.
That was fun to do.
the Irish whiskey,
black and white a long time ago.
the Irish whiskey review chimed in. We see you guys getting a little loud.
Great.
This is done for this year's tail hook.
For what?
All right, I can see Alex, who I'm going to pipe in.
Which is in a couple
Alex,
of
the
weeks.
connection we understand is a little hard.
Naval aviation.
That's
Carrier
okay.
aviation.
We can see you, Alex. You are currently on a golf cart on the runway.
Am I live? I can't tell.
You are live,
It
Alex.
was never a
Yes.
plan.
Now,
You-
where are you exactly?
No,
Are you on the edge of the runway?
No, I was going to say this was never
I
a plan.
am currently. We're waiting right now.
I was a test engineer at Westinghouse. But this worked out pretty well.
To its weight.
So we got to. We're
Okay.
gonna go
Yeah.
to Alex, who's now going to be the one chatting right here with me. We've got Ken Reed walking across. Alex, your connection's pretty good, actually. I think
I'm
the
worried.
jet.
I
Should,
will apologize.
oh man! Right when she's apologizing, she cuts
She
out.
froze.
So Alex, if you can still hear me, you can cut your sound. Maybe that'll help you with filming. But if you get lost, don't worry. We got the jet coming. It's moving. It's going to start towing the device. So is that the tracer jet that we just heard?
It's probably still the L-39. I don't think they've started up the Harrier.
Yeah, so that was the L-39. So you're probably better to comment on this than I am.
Well, fuel is oil. It's Scott again.
All right, we got Scott Sanders coming in.
You see, Art got out of the Harrier, and that's the reason why any gunny sergeant in a Harrier squadron has gray hair prematurely. So they'll figure this out. They'll see what's going on. The L-39 took out there. I'll be listening to the frequency for takeoff and see what they're going to do.
Hopefully it's minor.
So you were just saying that this was not planned,
No.
and how did that unfold?
Well, I was an engineer at Westinghouse in the test laboratory, doing environmental testing, shock, vibration, temperature. As part of this, we were building military equipment, electronic systems. So that put me in touch with more of the military community because I had never really met them before.
Right.
So through our electronic warfare marketing department, there were a lot of former Marine, retired Navy, working in EW marketing, electronic warfare marketing. And they said, hey, we've never had a booth at a tailgate. Let's use your art. And we'll go out there. And so for several years, Westinghouse paid me to go out and sit at booths and sign pictures and party with naval aviators. Awesome. It wasn't part of my job description. But I ended up meeting people that I needed to meet for things that would happen later on. Like one of the lieutenants I met, she was in charge of survival and physiology training here at PAX. So when I needed to go through my swim tests, she was the person I needed. So there's just a lot of interconnections with people that are active duty, former. The July, Miss July in there is the E2. It was, I know, we can't say that anymore. No, I'm sorry, it's August. August. Okay, this was a commission piece. And the gentleman that commissioned it said, oh, by the way, I mentioned you to my dad. He said, oh, yeah, I know him.
Okay, here's your.
His dad was in the test pilot school class that I was associated with.
The RPM gauge, looks like we need to swap that out. That's not an abnormal thing. So we're pulling that from the other Harrier right now. We're going to swap that out. Art's going to extend to go call the FAA and get the airspace extended. It ends at 130. We'll get that extended. So as we said before, it's a Harrier.
It's a Harrier.
It's part of naval aviation.
So good news
We'll
is.
get you an update soon as we know about the RPM.
So the good news is we have a backup RPM gauge, which we'll swap. The bad news is, being that Dominic is a musician,
I have a gig.
He has a gig.
Oh.
So I'm gonna be flying solo here
soon.
Pun intended. Pun intended. And I will have to think of some crazy things to talk about. So I'm gonna milk Dominic for what it's worth while he's here, and I'm gonna let him keep talking to Mr. Caruso while I go get some water.
It's just interesting. He was telling us.
I'll be right back.
Sort of how it went. It was unplanned, and you ended up sort of coincidence meeting a lot of people that were going to be integral to your career in art.
I believe that you don't plan a career.
Yeah, right.
A career is retroactively defined. When you've done all of this, you say, "Oh yeah, I guess that was a career."
I had a career in that.
Yeah. So you don't plan in advance. You can, I guess. Some people try to do that, but it's not really. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And so I just kept doing what I like doing, which is drawing airplanes and meeting with people that were part of the aviation community. So, like I said, his father, his name was Dick Clark, call sign Bandstand.
That's the Dick Clark?
No, but name's the same. So call sign was Bandstand. There you go. So it turns out his father was part of the test pilot school class that I was associated with. Did their logo for them. Went to their graduate, went through the test pilot school.
What's a spin hunter?
You go on a flight where they're going to be the spins. And it was we were the target aircraft, and the whole purpose of this was to teach pilots that are flying chase how to stay in the right position. In other words, if somebody's spinning, the chase plane has to keep them lined up with the horizon so they know exactly what height they're at.
Okay.
So they need to fly in a proper position so they can do something useful.
Yeah.
As part of the flight test. And we were the target airplane. So fortunately, it wasn't inverted, but I had never done anything like that. It was kind of a moment. It really, after a while, you start realizing. Oh, thank you.
They wanted to take off, even though the Harrier is still here.
Yeah, that's right.
Who's in the back there? He's doing some photos, so he just checking out some photography.
So if you're local, there is a jet flying. L-35, is that what he said?
39.
L-39.
It's a Czechoslovakian trainer.
So that's the chaser jet, which you just heard. Did a low pass flyover.
Never saw him.
He just went right over the trees over there.
Oh, man, he was behind the reflector.
So when the Harrier takes off, I believe he will fly with him.
That's the idea, yeah.
That's the idea, is to fly together.
Get photos.
Document
it.
Things like that. But I'm sorry to cut you guys off, but that is the date. And for anyone who just tuned in, we are swapping out the RPM gauge of the Harrier jet with the backup Harrier jet, and then they're going to be able to take off. So I apologize for.
No, it's all right. He was basically just saying something that I think that you can relate to a lot, and he basically said that his career in art was not planned, and he doesn't believe that you can plan. It's just something that ends up happening to you. You look back and say, "Wow, I guess that was a career," you know. And I think both of us can kind of relate to that.
Yeah.
Even at this early on, and it's funny because you said that these were introductions into the military community, which you hadn't had or didn't expect, and the sort of something similar happened to me and my group, and we ended up doing concerts at the Naval Air Museum, and you're playing in front of jets and helicopters, and you're getting more and more opportunities of just random stuff where you're like, wow, I never would have thought these people would be into music like this, especially our music, but the way that we can use it, and they're getting interested in asking you to participate in really awesome stuff, and you're like, wow, I never would have, I couldn't have planned that.
And military aviation community is definitely rock dependent. You know, the music. It is.
I can see that.
You know, I mean, think of the movie Top Gun.
Right.
That kind of music goes with that kind of flying.
Yeah. Our music is not rock, but I think it's good aviation.
Just so you know, Art has got the aerobatic box extended till 3 p.m. 1500 military time.
All right.
So what they'll be doing is
quite an extension.
Changing out the RPM gauge, and then we'll be going from there.
All right, so the FAA has extended the airtime
Art said
for
the
us.
new one is already installed. So
Okay, we have word that the new RPM gauge is now in the Harrier jet. Mr. Caruso has been very kind. He's been our longest guest we've had today.
Thank you.
It's a privilege.
No, this is great. So let me comment while we're still trying to get to the flight here. So you guys said you cannot plan careers. I agree with you. However, I will say this. I was obsessed with jets as a little kid, and I always knew I would not be a pilot. One, I have terrible eyes, right?
Yeah, that was my problem.
Yeah, right. That's the only reason. So, for me at least. And I'm also tall, but I was obsessed with jets. And somehow I find myself sitting here doing what I'm told I'm good at, sitting next to a bunch of jets. And you might have also liked jets, and you did something
full time.
You did something you are good at, and look at you now.
And you just keep doing what you like doing.
That's right.
Otherwise, what's the point? And I was lucky because I enjoyed the engineering work I was doing too.
Sure.
So to be able to combine the two, I liked writing. So I'd write papers on the tests that we did, and I'd get sent to conferences and so I got to travel, and you meet more people.
Right.
So you just stick with what you like.
Mm-hmm.
It's now. Well, it's done. It hasn't been printed yet. I just finished a new book, and it's no artwork. It's all 3D photography.
Wow.
Remember Viewmasters?
Yeah.
Okay, this is 70 years of naval aviation told in 3D photographs, most of which I took.
Wow.
Over the decades, not the years, but
right.
So, going to the conventions for 3D photography,
yeah,
I got to meet Brian May
The guitars from
from
Queen.
Queen, yes, because he's
into aviation.
He's
Right.
He's got his own stereo photograph company. It's the London Stereoscopic Association.
Okay.
He and some other associates have done these phenomenal research projects with books of 3D photography. So he is a 3D buff. There's a book out of Queen in 3D. He always took his 3D camera with him and took pictures at concerts.
Man, that's rad.
So
when Queen was playing?
yes,
They had 3D cameras? I've never even heard of a 3D camera.
came out in the 50s.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Doing that
Thought
right
of
now.
anything recently.
Because movies came along and they were easier.
Boo.
Yeah, boo hiss.
8mm. The problem with I don't know if I brought it with me. I'll have to check. Cool. The problem with 3D is if the slides aren't mounted right, and in theaters, if the reels they're separately projected, and if they're not aligned just right, you get headaches. So people didn't want the time or the trouble to do it right.
Dang you, convenience.
So I met Brian May. I got a picture of him somewhere.
Yeah.
He was only at that one. Now he's busy doing retro concerts and whatever.
Movies and stuff.
But he's also a PhD.
Yeah.
He was going for a PhD in astrophysics, and then Queen. He got distracted by Queen for 30 years.
Yeah, right.
All right, so the L-39 just flew over the airport.
I'm not seeing him.
The high-pitched screaming noise that you just heard.
We don't need, I don't want to bogart all your.
No, that's okay.
No,
No, but he went back.
Never mind, it was a different plane. that just
You
flew
talk
over.
Brian May. He went back to doing what he liked to do.
Right.
Astrophysics, 3D photography, and oh, by the way, Queen gave me the money now to play games. He goes out, when there's a space mission, he goes out to JPL and Jet Propulsion Lab.
Okay.
Work, doing all these things like the Mars.
All right, gentlemen.
things like that.
While you reminisce about music, so the pickup truck is moving away from the Harrier jet. We're going to turn the camera now, and we're going to just hopefully watch. It could be a few minutes for anyone that's online watching, but we are very obviously concerned about safety, and we want to make sure that everything is going to go down properly so that the plane can have a safe flight.
Unfortunately, all the smoke is not from the Harrier.
Yeah.
There is a lot of smoke in this runway.
It's a bonus.
We're hoping that it'll soon be from the Harrier. Right now, it's from the other jet. So we also have Mr. Caruso here with us off camera talking about his career in artwork and aviation. One question related to aviation that I have is what in particular story that you painted or drew? I'm sure there's more than one, but in particular stood out to you as something that stuck with you your entire career.
I don't know. That's a really good question. I've
Wow,
that's awesome. Good work.
I guess I'm getting better.
And I'll have to think about that. I'm not sure.
Just send us an email later.
Probably the one that sticks out most had nothing to do with aviation.
Okay.
I was out. It did have to do with bourbon. Coincidentally, I was out in one of the summers I spent out in California.
Yep.
As part of my scholarship, my Lockheed scholarship at Cornell, they would send me out to Sunnyvale, California, for a stint as an intern, basically during the summers.
All right.
The cockpit is now closed.
The cockpit is closed. The ladder is away. The Harrier's now turning on.
Now we can hear noise starting.
There we go.
Okay, this has been 2 years in the making.
Yeah, easily.
That noise is the sound of freedom. Please don't complain if you hear this again.
There you go. That's my 3D camera. This is a 3D. 2 lenses.
You can just go buy one of those?
Unfortunately, they don't make them anymore. You can still find them on eBay. I need to buy a backup. My film camera still works. So the left eye, right eye, about the same distance apart as your eyes. So let me get a picture of him taxiing.
Yeah, go.
I shall return if you want.
Please do. All right, I'm gonna take pictures too. Oh, you mean? Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we have Alex joining us. She's on the end of the runway. Percent is currently using the internet, but Alex is here, and she'll be showing us when the plane takes off. It'll be a short flight. There's only so much fuel in this plane, and we also have a window of time to get the flight in, because I'm sure you guys can imagine the air restrictions that are in place around a Navy base, and also because when you're in a jet, it doesn't take you very long to get to DC and Baltimore from where we're sitting here today in St. Mary's County. This event is being put on by Tobacco Barn Bureau to benefit Semper Fi America's Fund, helping not only the Marines, but all armed forces. You are looking at a Harrier jump jet. This particular one is from the Royal Navy. It's the only operational Harrier jet owned by a private civilian in the world. Pilot Art Knowles is a veteran corps, very skilled, many thousands of. Now he is pulling away, and he's going to be taking off very shortly. Jet is now pulling away. Alex, you will be up soon. So I am going to leave the camera pointed out of the hangar, because when he takes off, we should be able to see the jet on both cameras. Now the jet's coming onto Alex's camera on the runway. Alex, everyone's help today. Our guests from Irish Whiskey Review, Mr. Null, Rachel, Mr. Caruso, and a camera person, Alex, who is now on the move, following the jet down the runway. And it appears to be off very soon. You can smell the jet fuel. So it's warming up the engines. Alex has her sound off because it would likely be too loud. We want to make sure we can keep the stream going. This event is not only for fun, but also for raising awareness and funds for the Semper Fi America's Fund. but also to raise awareness for some of the great things we have going on down in Maryland. Alex, we see you. We get a camera's back on me.
You guys good. She's up and running. Yeah.
The plane is up and running. She's now flying. Dominic is crunching down. Dominic, I think it's okay. We've been on air for close to 2 hours now.
Pre-gig.
So it is okay for us to get a little, I don't know, ad-libby, I guess is the proper word.
And eat on screen.
And eat on screen. So for viewers, some of you have stuck with us for 2 hours now. Just remember, this event is over 2 years. So thank you, Alex, for being our camera person and showing everybody where this event is taking place. Thumbs up. And I will talk for a few more minutes here. And what I would like to do is I'm going to turn the camera back, and when the plane comes back, let everybody watch. But this has been a lot of fun. I can't say I ever expected myself to do something like this.
I can't say.
And the irony in all of it is, I wish I was in Alex's position right now, sitting at the end of the runway. I am talking on camera in the hangar that is now empty.
Yep. Except for other airplanes.
Except for me and Dominic and other airplanes. So Dominic is quickly jumping from here to a music gig that he has.
I have a gig in at the Belmont Manor in Elkridge, Maryland tonight.
Very nice. And I am going to be headed to the Here Comes the Jet. You guys can see it in the background. Alex got her camera. She should be able to see it very soon. It's doing a flyover, very low. It's coming in. Here comes another jet. Wow. That was low.
Yeah, dude, it was like
that was
below the trees.
That was so low, it was below the trees. I got to say, that was much louder. I'm going to break a rule and use a bad word and say that was pretty badass.
I already did that once on this.
Well, I just did it too, so now we're both in trouble with the FCC. Stream Police. I guess the FCC isn't watching.
How you doing, man?
All right, so the fleet, they will be landing very shortly. Alex, you're coming back. Looks like you're coming back. Thank you. Thank you to all you guys who watched. Again, I'm going to be turning the camera away from me, muting the mic, letting everybody watch the hangar for a few minutes if that's something you're interested in doing. For everyone who's been watching, I'm Tommy Luganbill.
I'm Dominic Fragman.
Sonic Spirits, musical innovation, talented group of individuals who I have been blessed to work with for the last 2 years. Somehow you always find yourself at these interesting events, and somehow you get to keep playing music.
It's because of Tommy. Vote for me.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm running against Rachel in the Miss Maryland pageant yet, but maybe soon.
But you should vote for him when he does run.
Here come the Jets, and I want to say my last round of shout-outs to Tobacco Barn Distillery for helping put this on, South Hunt Air for helping put this on,
They're like riding like this.
December 5 Fund, the folks over at the the two jets are now in formation coming in. I guess I was a little wrong. Alex is going to be showing them right now. This is a surprise. They weren't going to do this. Oh boy. Gets you going. It really gets you going. If anyone's watching online, when we do this again, because I'm sure we're going to, you got to make it out here in person. Last shout out to buying bourbon bottles. They're online on sale right now. You won't get them till November, but it's a great Christmas gift. Dominic and Sonic Spirits, you can always find them online. You can find me online whether you like it or not. Just Google my name, Luganbill. I'm not the Tommy Luganbill that is on ESPN. He is my evil doppelganger who's just older than me and quite frankly more famous, at least on an national, international level.
I am the only Dominic Fragman, so
well, congratulations, Dominic. Alex, now I think we're done. The formation just did a flyover, and there are only so many outros I have left. Here comes the. You there, Alex?
Okay. So just everybody.
Now we're going to turn the camera off of me, Dominic, and say farewell. And I'm going to let you listen to the cockpit.
It's nulls.
See you all later.
And I'll let you listen to it here for your
seen him load his own ordnance with a forklift.
It's pretty badass when they both flew over. That was the lowest flyover I've ever seen.
I wasn't like expecting that.
You didn't know he was going to come that low?
No, all of a sudden he goes and we're far away, like we weren't like very close, but then they just kept going. I was like, oh my god. I didn't also expect the noise, so I took one of my headphones out and I was doing this the whole time. Could you see it?
Yeah. We were talking for 2 hours, which we're live right now, by the way. Mm-hmm. No, they can't see you. They can just hear you.
Hello, everyone.
So the jet is now coming back. Thank you again to AirTech, Hangar AA, for letting us use your hangar today. Jets are now landing. Well, apparently they're not. Just one of them. The L-39 is doing another loop around. But I believe the Harrier did a touchdown.
There's the famous blue. That was
Blue the dog is now entering. L-39 is in the background. All right, now I believe it is officially over. Thank you for staying with us for over 2 hours. Hopefully we avoid a dogfight off camera. But thank you, everybody, and thank you to Semper Fi Fund and everyone who put this together. And for my mom for walking on camera and making a funny face.